everyone, welcome to my channel. Here on the Sheenapreneur channel, I share information about government contracting, veteran business content, and other business tips. What's going on, everyone? It is Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran, and I have an exclusive guest. I had to rip him from like all the millions of things that he does to get him on this channel, because when I say I thought I was busy, but no, this man is super busy. So I am so happy to have one of the most brilliant minds I have ever had the pleasure of talking to, John Thomas, who is like inventor, just executor. I told him he's like a creative executor, which is kind of dangerous sometimes.
It's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous because he's like, oh, I can think it, I'm actually gonna do it. So I'm so happy that he carved out some time to spend with us. Of course, he's a veteran too. So John, please introduce yourself and your company, what you do.
Hey, thanks for having me, Miss Sheena. I am John Thomas here in Atlanta, Georgia, founder of VendorCall, owner of 360 Clean Atlanta franchise building, and the newsletter that most people know me from is Alternative Programming, where I help people get into business, grow and start their business by changing their mindset using automation, community, and pure hustle. So I appreciate you for having me out. Me and Sheena go way back. We're same path, but we have different shoes. So we went off. She went to the government side, and I tried my luck in the civilian side with the corporate side. So
tried your luck. He is a damn he's changing the whole industry. I was like, do what now? And it's funny because like we would cross paths like every couple of months, and then he'll be running this way and I'll be running this way. And it's kind of like, wait a minute, we need to really talk. And so for those who saw the first video, which is actually doing really well, the first video, we just kind of did an impromptu live in Atlanta, just kind of chatting, and people really love that video. So I was like, I got to bring him back because we need to hear his brilliant mind and explain all the things that he has going on right now. So before we get started with that, like, tell us a little bit about your background. How the hell did we get here?
Oh God. Well, if you how do we get here? So this year will actually make 20 years in Atlanta. So if you saw the last video that we did, I was in Iraq. I was deployed. I picked Atlanta out of a hat. I said, whatever I pull out, that's where I'm going. And I ended up in Atlanta. And like I tell a lot of people, I did everything everybody else they tell you you're supposed to do, right? I got out, I looked for a job, I went the corporate route, but entrepreneurship just was always kind of in my DNA. My grandmother used to tell me, if you can't find a job, you make a job. You can't find a way, you make a way. So that was always in my DNA. So I did some work in corporate America, and I was dabbling in entrepreneurship. I actually started the website AtlantaEvent.com. This is pre-Eventbrite. Yep. So I didn't know anybody in Atlanta because, again, I picked it out of a hat of places I went to. So I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any networks, anything. So I'm a curious person. So I'm going to always ask, how did you do that? How'd you get that job? How you start that business? So I'm a very curious person, just kind of entrepreneur mindset, very curious. And so I didn't have any connections. And so I would start, I decided to build this website, AtlantaEvent.com, where I would just aggregate all of the business and networking events in Atlanta and stuff like that. And so that's actually how I got my first job. I got my first.
Wow.
Yep. I got my first job. So I did corporate America for a little bit. Worked at all of the kind of big name companies in Atlanta, Coca-Cola, all the big guys. And again, entrepreneurship was always in my DNA. One day, probably right before the recession, I'm sitting there, and they call us in and says, hey, the economy's taking a turn. This is the Lehman Brothers, that whole thing. And I just remember walking into this huge conference room, 3,000 folders laid out on the table in this huge conference room. And they're like, we need to pick who we're going to lay off. So, yeah. So that was an eye opener for me. I didn't get laid off because I was on the HR side of things.
Oh,
However,
right.
right. However, for me, that's kind of when my instincts kicked in. So I need a backup plan. So I knew entrepreneurship. Like I said, when I first got to Atlanta, I made me a job. We won't go into it, but you know, I worked. I started a business. I had a booth at the flea market at Metropolitan. Yes.
Not on Metro what? Oh,
I had the discount
Atlanta?
mall.
Wait, we got wait,
Come on now. I'm a businessman.
Right. If you from Atlanta or live in Atlanta, put Atlanta in the chat, because if you say Metropolitan, we all know where that is.
Okay? The flea market. I had a booth in the Metropolitan discount mall and the one on Godby on Old National.
Oh Lord.
Come on.
You were down by Old Nat. Look, Old Nat.
I was on Nat. Nat was that was my stomping ground. Because like I said, well, I didn't know anything about it at Atlanta. So the side that I was on, it said College Park.
Okay.
So I'm thinking College Park means where the colleges are.
Me too.
I thought it was
organic to Atlanta. Look, give us some credit, because that's deceiving. Oh, look,
I thought it was where the colleges were. So I ended up in.
He was selling bulletproof vests on Old Nat, Bridget.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Oh man, I didn't. Oh, did I get it? So this is the shirt. Hold on, y'all. I think I got it. Hold on.
You got to show us the Old Nat shirt.
This is I keep it here just as a reminder.
Okay.
So this is my shirt, y'all. When I worked on Old Nat, I didn't even think about that till you said that. It's a shirt that says, "If you buying, I'm selling." I'm telling you.
That's a hustler.
I've had that shirt since old Nat. But yeah, so that was my entrepreneur. So I eventually got into corporate America. And I did that. But when I saw all those people get laid off, I said, I gotta have me a backup plan. So that's when I started kind of looking, you know, like I said, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I went to Cobb Galleria. They have a franchise show or fair at Cobb Galleria every year with all the different franchises. And so I decided to go to one. And kind of the rest is history. I'm walking up, I'm looking for sexy jobs, you know, franchises. Oh yeah, I wanna, you know, a restaurant, or, you know, I want to do all this. And so I'm walking, and I saw the owner of the 360 Clean franchise. He had just started maybe a few years before, and he says, "Hey, you want to buy a cleaning franchise?" And I was looking at the first time I walked by, I was like, "No, definitely not. I'm looking for something cool. I'm cool. I want something sexy. I want something sexy." But everybody else wanted like 300,000, 400. It was crazy. It was crazy. So then I got to thinking as I'm walking around, and I'm like, if I lose the job, I lose the dog, I lose the house, I can pick up a broom and mop and clean. That was my rationale. So that's kind of how I got into it. So
where you get the money from? From what you was buying it, from what they were buying and you were selling over that?
That was a little. So check it out. So I'm looking into it, right? Mind you, it's always a journey, and I tell people that it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like they say on the Instagram or whatever. Oh, one day I just woke up and thought it was a process. So I'm thinking, and I'm researching, and I'm working at the same time. So a lot of people think, oh, well, you got to do one or the other. No, you can do both. So I was working, saving my coins, and I'll never forget. I'm going to these different networking events and seminars and things with government, you know, help you start a business. And I never forget, I went to this some kind of class or webinar where it's supposed to help you start a business. And it was probably about 20 of us in there. And we go in there, and they started to proceed to tell us all the things you needed to have and what you couldn't do until, you know, you had the business. Oh, you got to have good credit. You got to have 3 months of savings. You got to have this. You got to have friends and family. You got to have this. And when I tell you, the class started with about 20, 25 people by break. It was maybe about 15. By the end, it was maybe about 7 or 8 of us, because everybody was so deflated because everybody's they're telling me, and I don't believe nobody though. So I didn't believe it. So I took, like I said, I had met Barry, the owner, at 360. So sat down with him. I said, I don't have all the money. I got 2,500 though. We could make something shake.
Did you say 2,500 to him?
2,500. Yeah, mind you, I just came off an old Nat, ma'am. probably a year or two before.
He's like, I know you need 250,000.
I know what I said. You gotta. Yeah, I said just have a little faith. I was the first. Yep, I was the first franchisee in the Atlanta area, and I was just like, we'll do it. That's how I got started.
What I'm talking about. Listen, that's what I'm talking about. He said I got $5 on it. That's it. And but that's what, like, and I'm only laughing because that's how I am, right? $1 in a dream. And I think it's important to understand that anything can be negotiated. He literally carved away when everyone's saying, you know, this is how you start a business, but then also this is how much money you need for a franchise. And he's like, I ain't got it, but I'm about to talk to the owner. So whatever.
You gotta have people that share your vision. And that was the thing. Like I said, his franchise was fairly new, right? So and I could see the vision. Like I said, that's one thing I've always been good. I can kind of see things that are that may work or good. And I said, this is good. And I told him, I said, you got to believe in me. You know, if give me a shot, I can make something happen. So which is crazy, because after that I went back to my job because they didn't lay me off. so I was there. Probably I bought the business, and I ended up paying, you know, the full price, whatever it was for it. And so maybe like 9 months, a year later, I'm still working. look at Barry. Oh, Barry's in the chat. Hey,
what's up, Barry? Shout out to Barry.
That's the franchise owner.
Oh, hey, that's
right there. So
look, we gotta give Barry a hand clap of praise because he took a chance.
He took a chance.
And I'm sure it has paid dividends. So thank you. I want to say thank you, Barry. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, he calls me and he says, it's probably about 8 months. It was a while. He says, hey, you ready to get started? I'm like, who is this? He said, who's this? I'm like, he's like, this is Barry. You know, you ready to go? You got the cleaning, you bought the cleaning franchise? I was like, oh crap, I did buy it. So my first contract, right? This is crazy, was the Apple Store, Lenox Mall.
Wow, that's
it wasn't big. It wasn't big.
It was major.
It was 100. God, it had to be maybe $150, $250 a month. So I had to go in, and you had to scrub the floors. Yeah, a month. You had to scrub the floor. So it's $150 a month. But the scrubber cost $750.
I was about to say, you talking about a real scrubber? Like,
it's a little small. So I bought this little small used raggedy thing, you know, from one of the janitorial things, a little small scrubber, and I did that. And that's,
didn't hire anyone.
Oh God, no. We were dirt poor as business owners. We were so man. My first few contracts, me and my brother would do them. So we'll clean at night, and then in the morning I'll change, put on a suit, and go in and ask them, how's the cleaning? Did those guys do a good job? Let me know. I will fire them. If they suck, I will fire.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you.
Switch your hat.
Yeah, I will switch hats. I'm telling you.
That's some people, they have to know. And this is not even, so this is your franchise. You started with the franchise part.
I started with a franchise.
And then the franchise got a contract. So it's like still understanding the business part of this. Like, you had to do what you had to do. And then you knew how to switch the hats and say, hey, I'm going to make sure that they put some respect on what I'm doing, you know, because
you have to do. Yeah, because like we talked about before, everybody thinks it's an unsexy job, and they think, oh, well, cleaners don't, really make a lot of money, so there's a lot of misconceptions. So people don't get into it.
Right.
And I remember some time, like I said, I started with that Apple Store contract and we grew from there. And I remember I'm in there cleaning myself and they were trying to get me to work at the Apple Store. They were like, hey, we can get you a job. I'm telling you, you come every day on time. You're consistent. You're this. So they're trying to get me to work. They're trying to get me to work at the Apple Store. And then so one day, one of the assistant managers, we were talking, they was like, you don't want this. And I was like, no, I said, look at my invoice. So they looked at it and I made, by that time, I made more just for, in 1 month than most of them made, So they were like, oh, then after that, they were asking me for a job. Oh, well, how I started. But
it's so funny. People don't respect, they'll step over the janitor or like disrespect.
Well, that's anything. That's anything. And I tell people, especially in the beginning, you have to ignore. You have to follow your vision, right? Not even your passion. Follow your vision for what you're doing, because everybody is going to tell you why it's not a good idea or why it's hard or why they couldn't do it or they couldn't make it, but you have to follow it. Like I said, you have to be relentless and say, if you believe in it, you do it, just like the military, you do it to muscle failure. So
amen. And that's a really good point, because it's like people's egos get in the way. And of course, I've been on contracts where I had other people who were similarly situated where they had degrees and all that, but they on this contract, they could be making $100,000 that month. And they couldn't get past when someone would say something to them.
Yes.
They're like, no, I'm a police officer in real life. It's like, who cares? You got
the first maybe 2 years, 3 years, I didn't even tell people I was the owner. I was a worker. I was a worker. I was a sales, because to me, when you're starting a new venture, you don't need a title. You need work ethic. You don't need no title. You need the money. Right. You don't need a title. So we all salespeople, right? We're all customer service, and that's how it was. So I never told folks. They find out later, and they're like, "Oh, you're the owner?" Like, yeah. So I'm your business development or your sales rep guy. I'm here because I want you to respect my work off the strength of what I'm doing, not because of who I am. So.
That's a fact. I love that. So, okay, now you got the franchise, you're doing the contracts, you kind of like, and we're going to talk about your previous business life a little later, because I'm like, this guy is blowing me away.
Every day in hustle.
Brain just won't stop. So, so when you got the franchise and you're doing the contracts, what made you want to just do it differently instead of following? I never had a franchise, but I'm assuming it was kind of like a path.
Yeah.
But they probably gave you some flexibility to do stuff on your own. So what made you want to do things differently?
And that's one of the reasons why I really liked the 360 franchise, because like I said, it was more flexible than some of the other folks that I've dealt with, where you have to have set amount of contracts. You got to, this is the set pricing or it was more flexibility. So for me, I've always been a person, I never like to be like anybody else. Even growing up, everybody had Jordans. I would not wear Jordans simply because everybody wore Jordans. That's just how I was. I just always wanted to be different. And that's not a good or bad thing, but for me, that's how it was for me. So very early on, I learned about finding your niche and finding your space. Right. And dig into it. So, and I bumped my head too, just like everybody else. When I first started, I want any contract, every contract. I don't care what it is. I'm taking it. And that's how I operated. But after a while, I was like, well, you can kind of, if you hone in, you can kind of get really good and be able to sell to that one or two types of customer. So that's kind of what I did. And most people, like I said, went after office and after commercial. But I was like, well, there's a lot of apartment buildings. I said, they gotta always need people. So I started, and I think I was still working. I don't know, maybe I was still working. But I would go out and target these long streets. So on my lunch break, I was still working. So on my lunch break, I would get my bag full of materials and I'd go park somewhere and I walk down one side of the street, putting out flyers, come down the other side of the street, putting out flyers, go back to work. And I did this for a while. And so I walked into an apartment complex and I was like, huh, they got a lot of units, so they always need cleaning. So I did that the first couple, it was horrible. It was horrible. I went to these super hood apartments they was like, yeah, we got apartments for you to clean.
Were they low price? Because I've heard that they
were very low price. I think I had to be getting maybe back then, maybe $40, $50 a clean. It was crazy. And it was nasty, like super trap.
No way. No,
it was horrible.
What the hell?
I was just trying to make I was just trying to make something shake. I was trying to make something shake. So I finally go into one and I'm doing some cleans for them. And I met the guy that was doing the whole building cleaning, like the complete, just like they say, complete facility care cleaning. So we got to talking. I was like, man, I hate going in people's houses cleaning. I hate cleaning people's houses. And he says, I hate doing these building cleans, cleaning the leasing office, fitness center, just making sure the building's clean. He's like, I could be, doing residential and I get X, Y, and Z. And we was like, you want to switch?
Right.
So we go to the leasing office. Melissa White, who last year she was the chair of the Atlanta Apartment Association. She was the manager there. Yes, crazy how that works. That's another story. But we was like, can we switch? And she was like, yeah. And so that's how I got into just my line, and it just kind of took off for that. From there, I just kind of dug in, started learning everything I could about the industry, locking in with people in the industry, and it just kind of went from there.
I freaking love that. And Robin says she loved to clean. Now I love to clean, but I like to clean within reason, because we cleaned college dorms, and that's like that's on the other side of hell. So it's
oh my God,
within reason clean. I like to make things better, but then it's like, okay, I'm about to whoop everybody's ass in here because who the hell raised you? That type of thing. So there's two different ways. But I really love that you were saying that you were like, this is back when it was door to door, right? Or
it was door to door. Your own clock.
No excuses. You were at work. You probably had to take off, unloose your tie or whatever.
It was so hot. I'd never forget. It was so, oh man, it was so hot. I had to keep a shirt in the car because I would go back. So I'd take off the shirt that I was at work with, put on, then walk, and then switch. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
And that's important though, because who's willing to do that? And that's an important factor to add in. It's like, if you really want to make this work, you're going to make it work. You'll figure out how you got to weave it into your regular life. And that's exactly what you did. So that's,
you make time for the things you want.
Amen. Hallelujah. That is so true. Okay. Yeah. So you started thinking, okay, you kind of fell into doing it a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So was there like a moment, now that's a big moment where you actually were able to like switch with the person?
Yeah, that was pivotal. That was pivotal. For the simple fact is, it put me in a position where I saw something differently, right? So a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. I didn't even know that was a whole thing, right? I didn't even know that was a whole thing. Somebody cleaned the building. I thought, I don't know, like most people, just got cleaned, maybe.
Right. It got magically cleaned on its own.
The maintenance maybe did it or something. So when I saw that and I saw that opportunity, I was like, ooh, this is a nice opportunity, right? And for me, I like bigger projects. I like the challenges. I don't want to clean houses. For me, again, like I said, I was working back then, and I'm a little bit of a scatterbrain. So doing individual, I said, I always look at things, how do I make this 10 times bigger or 10 times better, right? So for me, cleaning residential was cool, but all right, to get to $1,000 a month, I would have to clean 10, 15 apartments. How do I get to $1,000 or $2,000? So that's how I start looking at things. and it naturally fit with me. I was like, I'm going here, and it paid off. And we'll maybe talk about this later. During the pandemic, I just literally happened to be positioned in the right place, in the right industry, with the right clients. Because a lot of people, they had to, shut down, scale back. We actually grew a little bit during the pandemic. So
yeah, no, I share that sentiment. Most people in janitorial pretty much grew, like maybe other industries, but in janitorial and others, people grew. So with that, is that like that big moment besides the switching with the guy at the apartment building? Was the well, you had already been kind of doing it, but
yeah, I've been doing it for
that moment where you're like, okay, all right, I've arrived, like this is it.
What do you mean? Like when I was like, oh, I can do this for real, for real?
Money. No, when the money was like, okay.
Oh man.
Or was it a slow incline where you just kind of
it was I tell people with especially starting a new venture, everything happens really slowly, then all at once. And that's literally how it was. So yeah, I got Apple Store. Then from the Apple Store, I got the apartment complex. And then from there, when I got my second one, so, my team, AKA me and my brother, we did a good job. So guess what? They gave us another one, right?
Another apartment complex?
They gave us another apartment complex.
How many units we talking about for each?
So this one, the first one, oh God, this was years ago. It probably had to be about 300 units.
Woo, Lord.
Yeah. So, and then they gave us another one. We executed on that. And then when I got the third one, I was like, oh, hold on, I might be on to something.
Okay. Look, that's important. Like that's a really key thing that you're leading into, because it's like, I'm doing it. Okay, I got something else. And then you don't even realize that you're kind of moving forward. And then that with you is that third thing, like, okay, I can repeat this. This is repeatable.
Yeah. And even if you do different things, right? Because I was still, getting other warehouse, this and that, warehouse jobs, commercial cleaning. The franchise itself was health focused cleaning. So they center around providing kind of a healthy, sanitized environment. So that same type of cleaning that you get when they're putting you on the operating table, they literally bring that to your office or to your warehouse. So I was still had my hands in trying these things out, but I could feel for me what fit with my personality, who I was, my business, and what I wanted. The property management side is really what spoke to me. So I just kind of followed that.
And we're going to get into that, because that's where I was like, wait, like, again, we didn't cross paths 100 times. I was like, wait, what? you built what? Okay, let's stop playing. So got a question from the audience. Bridget says, what's easier, building trust with your own cleaning brand or using a franchise name, even if other locations' bad reputations affect yours? Great.
Oh, okay. So to me, it really depends on how you want to approach your new venture, right? So for me, I think franchising is a good choice when you want to grow and you want to focus strictly on your strengths, right? So if you are one of those people who's like, I want the beauty of building everything out, I want it to be mine, I want this, to be the way I wanted, the logo, I want to do the marketing, I want, to go out and build my brand. That's good, right? I'm doing that now with VendorCall. But if you want to say, hey, I want to have a business and I want to solely focus on what I'm good at. I may be good at business development, or I may be good at operations, right? So what a franchise does, it takes all the other things off of your plate. So having to deal with handling invoices, or having to have the colors or personal brand, or, all these other things that are related to building a business. Now you're only focused on operations and sales, right? Which is where most people want to be. They want to get more business in, and they want to operate and run their business. So that's where franchising is good. So what you do what you're saying, what you do is you do have to look at the franchise that you're being a part of as a whole, right? So, and that's a whole nother another class. Barry could probably come on one day and speak to you about that.
That'd be nice.
But for me, as an entrepreneur and a business person, I look at a few things, right? What she said, I look at the reputation, right? The reputation of the brand as a whole, of the franchise as a whole. I look at what the individual franchisees are saying. I look at the reviews, right? So do you have happy franchisees, right? Are you having franchisees that are growing? And you'll get all of that in what they call a franchise disclosure document. They'll tell you how many people left the franchise, how many added, what is the average amount of money that's made, on the franchise per unit. And yeah, if you're curious, you can always just look it up. A lot of people's stuff is online, or you can just reach out to them and they'll tell you. And what I always tell people to do is don't take the person that's selling you for it. Talk to the people that's doing it, the people that's on the ground doing the work, right? Ask an actual franchisee of that brand, what do you think about this? Or how do you like this? Are you really making money, right? Because some people are getting money, they're not keeping money. So that's a different. If you have, and you know this, Sheena, if you have a $10,000 contract and $9,950 is going towards your employees and your taxes, did you really make any money, or did it look good?
It looked good. It looked good, right?
Did it look good on paper?
It looked good on paper only, not to anybody else. Either no bankers, no nothing.
But yeah, always look at the brand name. Look at the industry you're in, and talk to the actual franchisees, the people on the ground doing it. And that's with anything. I'll never take a salesperson's word for anything. That's their job. Their job to sell you. When I go, even when I'm doing bids, right, for my company, I said, I'm going to tell you everything that sounds good, and I promise you I will deliver it, but I'll let you talk to my team, or I'll let you talk to some of my other clients. I'll let them tell you. I just did a trade show, and most of my clients sold the trade show attendees there. They'd come by, they were bringing people to the booth. They were doing that. They'd be at the booth selling for me, like, oh no, they do this, this, and this. So I always say, don't, talk to all the other folks around before you make a decision.
So has, I guess to Bridget's point, I think she's also asking, like, if the company has preceded you, like they say, I don't want to deal with I'm sorry, it's 360 Clean. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't want to deal with 360 Clean because I had them in the past, or I know someone that had them, but it was a different franchise owner. Mm-hmm. Has that happened to you at all?
Yeah, not so much with,
maybe not that harsh of language, but like,
yeah. Well, yeah, no. So you're absolutely right. And what I hear often is, not specifically a name, but they'll say, I don't want to deal with, clients will say, I don't want to deal with franchises because I've had bad experiences with franchises in the past. I may have had this name or that name and they were trash. So you do have to deal with that. So what I tell them when I hear that is I definitely understand. I almost got roped into one of those myself. But what I would say to you is, you are at this point, you're talking to me. I am the owner, right? I am responsible. And I tell them, I said, I'm going to make sure, personally, that, we keep on top of things. And if it's not clean, I'll make sure the right people get it clean. And if it's not, I'll clean it myself. You don't want me to clean it because I'm super expensive.
That part.
I'm good, but it's going to be clean. I can do it. So it's really about, right? That's an objection. It's about handling an objection, right? That's just like saying, well, I don't want to eat, at restaurants anymore because I went to a restaurant and it was really bad.
That's a great example, actually. I like that example. I'm gonna start using that. And Robin is singing your praises. She said, you have always gone after what you wanted, and he's done.
Thank you, Robin. Yes.
Singing your praises. So let me go to, do you feel the franchise model limits your income potential or enhances it?
One, it depends
he shared some numbers with me earlier, so I don't think he missed not damn meal. But go ahead.
So, again, I will tell you, it depends on the franchise you're with. One, right? Not first and foremost, but one thing, it depends on the franchise you're with, right? And two, It depends on you. Business at the end of the day, behind that franchise is an LLC or incorporation that is you, right? So one, make sure you have a franchisor that doesn't limit your potential, right? And two, make sure what's that saying? Hustle not included. Make sure you're willing to do the work. Oftentimes I will talk to people that are interested in buying a business or a franchise or starting something, right? And they think, well, it's a transactional thing, right? I give you money and then money is going to rain down on me. I'm under this big money tree, and because I'm part of this franchise or because I bought this business, money is going. No, you still have to do the work, right? If you do the work and you're with a solid franchise with a good model, right? Your income is going to be limitless, and without giving you too many numbers, just we have a few franchisees that are in the 7-figure range. They have 7 figures, right? So and I've been number 1 or 2, maybe the last 3 or 4 years. I'm just saying, but I'm just
putting that out there.
But no, it doesn't. It if you're with the right person and you have the right mindset, it can definitely enhance it, because again, remember what I told you, you're only focusing on operations and business development or sales. And in some models, they actually assist you with the sales. But I like to do my own because, again, like I said, I found a niche for myself. Everybody doesn't do it. I found a lane that I know I can push into. So that's how I do it.
No, I love that. And that is a misconception, of course, that you go and buy a franchise and then you just think that everything's going to come to you. And there probably are a few that are not exactly like that, but have a little bit more. And I used to think back in the day, I think I was watching the show, is it The Prophet? Yeah, The Prophet. And is it called Profit First? Whatever. Anyway, where the guy goes and check your business or whatever, and it's all trash, and then he shut your business down, build it back, or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, there's some where it could kind of work like that, but you just really have to ensure that it's the right model, and then anyone can start a franchise. I was even looking at starting a franchise myself for my company, almost like Neighborly, which is like the Molly Mays and the Joe. I was gonna be like them. And it was very hard to become a franchisor, and anyone can start a franchise as long as they follow these steps. So I was like, okay, I'm thinking that only franchises like McDonald's and Burger King and like the major companies. No, it could be a company you ain't never heard of.
Right.
That's a franchise.
So, and franchising at its core, right, is a set of systems and processes, right? So we have a saying that there's trust to process, systems and process that allow you to go out and be good at what you do, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people, right, the way they get limited is they're not following a system, right? And they're not trusting the process, right? And I fell into it too. Early on as you're learning and growing, right? It's like, oh, well, this is not working. I'm doing it. It's not working. I don't see it. Right. And a lot of times you just haven't stayed in it long enough, I don't care how talented or athletically inclined you are, right? If you haven't been to the gym and then you just say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym, and you think you're going to lift 250 pounds, you're going to be sorely mistaken. Or you go to the gym for 2 days and be like, why my abs are not here?
Am I skinny yet?
Sir, you didn't get that gut overnight. So you're not going to get abs overnight. That's just not how it works. And it's the same way with business, right? So your business is like a baby, right? When you first start, it takes time and it takes nourishing, and you have to care for it, and you have to put energy in, and you actually have to love what you do, because if you're doing something for money, that is the quickest way to fail.
Facts.
The quickest way to fail. You
got to start with what you enjoy, and then the money will come. You got to make money, or it's a hobby, right? But like exactly what you said, if it's only for money, you don't like what you're doing. For money,
that's why it's so easy for people to start stuff, but only a few actually do it or actually get there. I remember during the pandemic, I just remember so many people, oh, I'm going to start a business or I'm going to do this. And I have a web design offshore shop that I run that does. And I remember we probably must have made during the pandemic, we probably made about, God, maybe about 700-800 websites. Had to be. Had
Wow.
to be. People wanting to get into business and do
Wow.
this. And I did a few of the intakes. And when I tell you 85%, 90, probably higher than that, just didn't go through and execute. And we did some interesting numbers, right? So we did a lot of them just kind of as part of this program just for free. And then we did some where it was kind of paid. And then of course we had our regular clients. And when I tell you, probably about 95, 96% of the people that we gave it to them for free did nothing with it. About 50, 60% of the ones that paid something for it did not do it. And so that goes to show you can be given something, but if you don't value it and you don't put the energy into it, it's not going to blossom. And it's like that in business in general, not just janitorial, not just franchising, not just government contracting, is you have to put in the work and you have to actually want it. If you don't actually want it and you're not willing to do something towards it, you're not willing to sacrifice, like Thanos when he threw the girl in the lake, you got to give up. You got to give up something. It's not I'm gonna get everything I want.
Look, yes. No, I
you
love
have
that.
to give up something. So
Give up something, and that's a whole nother
whole
day of teaching. People, but they tend to say people who pay attention. So like the free stuff, yeah, everyone doesn't deserve it because they know they're not going to do anything with it. Could have went to someone else. Yeah. So going back to like the franchise, like whether it affects you. So Bridget mentioned, Jared affected all Subways.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
we know that. So I guess going back to what we were talking about, like, I haven't heard anything bad about you, your company, or the franchise. So, there's I guess there are times where those things can happen. And I don't even know if people necessarily know everything is a franchise. That's what I realized. Like I said, there's companies that you don't even know they're franchisors because they just almost anyone can really do it. There's not a whole lot to it. So it's just like, oh, I didn't like this company, but they may not even fully realize who's who,
Yeah. And then you'll have those situations where, and that's unfortunate. But you do have to look at it as a whole. But I tell people, it's like, yeah, Jared hit him pretty hard, but people ain't stopped eating at Subway.
I know I didn't. And it's a shame because it's not, technically not Subway's fault, but I think they did have a little bit of dip.
Yeah, he was the face of the brand. So
right. And you gotta watch his documentary. It was really crazy. It was way
lucky for me, I'm not the face of 360's brand.
That part too, right? That part too. That's a good point. That's a good point. So we got a couple more questions coming in. Make sure y'all hit like on the video because the likes are not matching the views. There's a lot of y'all on here. I need the likes to match the views. Okay. So Ivan, always a supporter of the channel. Thank you. He said, blessings. I'm late and I'm not sure if it's been asked, but are you applying AI? Ivan, you should have never asked this. He's
go
like,
down. Don't you go. It's too early. It is too early in the evening.
We got to get to the second hour before we get to that. Look, or is it not necessarily needed currently for your day-to-day business? Before you say anything, John, listen, Ivan, you don't understand. John is Mr. AI. You don't even know what we were going to get into, but since we're here. Okay. So perfect segue for VendorCall. So tell us a little bit about VendorCall. How did you end up doing it? Your wonderful brain working all levels of AI and what you told me you did for 30 minutes during a lunch or something. Go into all of that.
Okay. Oh God, where do we start?
Right. How did it start, VendorCall?
Yeah, so it actually started again. I've always been a technical person. I actually did my career background was a big data engineer. So that's actually pre-AI stuff. So which is what AI is. It's all the information, you put it together and you can predict, the outcomes, you can do, you know, formulas, you can understand concepts. So I worked at, oh God, I worked at Accenture, I've worked at Microsoft, a few you know, companies, and that was kind of my area, database engineering, big data. And so I've always been a kind of technology person. Like I said, I started at Atlanta Event. I've always been on the technology side of the house. But like I said, 360 initially started like, this is my backup plan. If they fire me, and it just kind of took off from there. But I've always been on the tech and entrepreneur side of things. And so probably around the time of the pandemic, I had already launched one app, a gifting app, where I built an app that would pull in all the data from the stores around you. And then you could do a personalized message, record a video, and then we would get the gift delivered to you. Whole nother story. That's another story. But I ended up
there you go. They're mine.
I ended up selling it like right as the pandemic was going. Again, not sticking with something long enough. And then the pandemic happened, and the people I sold it to, they made a stupid amount of money.
Okay.
They made an insane amount of money during the pandemic. I mean, whatever. So during the pandemic, like I said, we being what did they call us back then? Essential workers?
Essential workers, yep.
Whatever, right? You know, the city's pretty much dead like zombie land, but because of the industry I was in multifamily apartment buildings and condos. Everybody was stuck there. So naturally they needed our services because they needed to disinfect and, you know, the whole thing. The movie studios were trying to shoot and somebody would catch COVID like every other day. Yeah. So you remember that COVID money. It was crazy. It was crazy. Lord, kept me alive. Anyway, so, but as a consequence of us being essential workers, we were always in the buildings. And so they would be asking us to do other things. Hey, can you make sure the trash was dumped? Or could you, the plumbing guy can't come. Can you do this? So they started asking us to do other things outside of the scope. So, so that's where kind of the idea. And anytime I see a manual process or a need for something, right? My grandmother always taught me, don't look at the negative. Oh, they're trying to make me do this and they're not paying me for it. I'm looking for the opportunity, right? So the opportunity I saw was, hey, people need quality vendors. They don't know where to get them, right? They're not getting timely service. So how can we do this? So that's where the idea of VendorCall came from, which was a platform that we built initially for some of our most trusted vendors, right? And we were able to kind of task those out and schedule those out to the clients that we really needed. So it just kind of grew from there. So we branched and we started getting into the retail side because they always have spills or they have, you know, water leaks. Or one time a deer ran into a retail store and they needed, you know, somebody to come out fast. And that's kind of our business model is we want to find the right vendor and put that with the right client really, really fast. So that's where VendorCall came in. And of course, as a consequence of technology and even AI, we found a way to make that run faster, smoother, right, and more efficient, right? So our AI allows us to do intelligent vendor matching, right? It matches their schedules, it matches their insurance requirements, their locations, and actually finds the best vendors pricing that goes. And then we've even took it a step forward. This summer we're launching our property services assistant, Valari, which now instead of filling out a form, you can literally talk to it. You can text it, hey, I need you to pick up my trash on Tuesday, or I need a 2-bedroom term. You can, and it does all the scheduling. So it's really been helpful to the industry, and it's my way of giving back. And I always tell people, right, when you look at things, look at, right, how are you going to use your next decade, right? So for me, being a vendor and being on the services side, I say, well, I want my next decade to be dedicated to making sure, right, that all those things that I struggle with, right, as far as vendors, getting payments faster, getting enough work, making sure I have the right type of clients, and the things I hear from my clients. I need, quality vendors. I don't want anybody off of Craigslist or Thumbtacks. I want to know that they've done the work. Can I get them fast, right? I said, I'm going to dedicate that time, my next decade, to making sure that these two people find each other, right? It's not so much about me doing the work. I want to make sure that those good people, that's what I call them, my good people, they find each other. And that's really what VendorCall is about. And so the question as far as applying AI for myself, I am an AI junkie, so I use AI every day. I show people how to use AI. We're actually going to start a video series that Sheena's supposed to get, where what I usually do is I take tools that traditionally you had to pay for and show you how to make those use in AI. How do you start your business with the help of AI? Everybody is on the two sides of the fence. Most people is AI is our new God and Savior that will cure all of our ails, or AI is the devil and it will take our jobs and cause the Terminator to arise, right?
I swear I'll be on both sides every day.
Yeah. So you kind of have both schools of thought. I tend to be in the middle and say AI is a tool to work faster and more efficient, like anything else, right? So AI is very, very smart, right? But it's only as strategic and as useful and as hardworking as you are, right? AI can't replace work ethic. AI can't replace execution, right? So all of these external things, AI can change and manipulate. AI can't change internal things, how you make people feel, right? How do you make your customers feel? How do you respond to customer complaints, right? How do you provide an experience? So all of those things are internal that still need to be done by humans. You just have to use the AI tools to figure out how to do that better. So if you're on the side of it's the Terminator and it's the devil, I say kind of back off from the ledge, because it's the same as with when the internet come out. When the internet came out, everybody just knew Y2K was going to take us all out, and we were all scared to death of Terminator 1, 2, and 3, right? And 20, 30 years later, you have to use the internet. You have to use cell phones. And it's the same way with AI, right? Your job is not going to be taken by AI, right? Your job is more than likely going to be taken by somebody that knows how to use AI to get work done faster. Your business is not going to fail, because AI took all the business. Your business more than likely is going to fail because someone learned very early on how to use these tools and put strategy behind the tools to make their business grow. So that's where I am with AI. But yes, I use it every day. I build stuff every day. I did a impromptu demo Clayton County Library where we built somebody.
Don't be humbly. You too damn humble. Listen. I need you to talk your ish, because before we started the call, he was like, "Oh yeah, I just built an app." I'm like, "Today? Like, what do you mean? You like?"
I've been look to my defense. I have ADHD. I have AI ADHD, so I probably build something every 2 or 3 days unless I'm super, super busy. So we were setting up with IBMF, Institute for Veterans and Military Families, if you don't know what that is. And so we were setting up a table for veterans. Oh yeah, there it is. And someone was asking about AI. Is it useful? How can it help me? And is it really hard because they don't know how to code? And they had an idea, and I said, so really? So you have an idea? I said, okay. So I flipped out my phone and I said, put the timer on. I said, what do you want to build? If you could build anything on this planet, what would you build? So she's like, oh, well, I don't know. Da, 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 da. Just tell me. So what we literally did, it was 2 people there. so she spoke and told me what it was. And I used a few AI tools and we began to build it. And so I began to explain to her about AI being a tool, right, to help you bring your creativity and bring your ideas and bring your business to life. And 8 minutes later, she said she wanted an app that would have her, that in the morning, it would tell her the time, it would tell her almost like an Alexa, it would tell her her schedule for today, it would give her a positive affirmation, and it would give her suggestions, right, on how to organize her schedule. So
boom. And then here you go. You're like,
it took 8 minutes, and we had the prototype in 8 minutes. Now, not the full-fledged thing, but the prototype. So now you can actually go and say, this is a real thing, right? So I encourage people to think before you say, oh, it's impossible, I can't do this, or but, or somebody says, I tell people, think about it the other way. Start with, but what if it is possible? But what if I could do this? What if I could? If I could do this and there were no limitations, right? What conditions would have to exist in order to make that happen? If you start from that premise of it's possible, right, you're going to have a better chance of getting accomplished what you wanted to do. And so yeah. And so I showed her, like I said, in 8 minutes, something that you've been thinking about for the last year or two. We just have it done. And this is the power of AI, right? Technology is now democratized. When I built my first app, Red Bag Gifts, it cost me probably about $30,000-$40,000. Guess how much the app cost me? I just rebuilt it. I'll do a demo of it. I just rebuilt it probably about a week ago. It took me 30 minutes.
30. That not $30,000. 30
not $30,000. It took me 30 minutes and a $20 subscription that I already had. So
his mind won't let him rest.
If I show you some of the things in my it's called my crazy idea folder. Yeah. So and what I do now is like I'll try to think of something I hate paying for. So it's kind of a challenge to me. So something that I don't want to pay for, I hate paying for, I'll figure out how to reverse engineer it using AI and automation. So I'll just build stuff. Like somebody was charging me like $16, $19 a month for this YouTube summarizer because I can't sit still for 19 minutes and watch your whole video while you talk about all kind of random stuff so you can get your views. So I was paying like 16, 19, 40 something dollars a month for it. And I was like, this is stupid. And so I literally put it into AI. I created it with AI, and it took me about an hour to do. So that was $16. But again, technology is now democratized. So don't be afraid to go and start that business. Don't be afraid to go make that pitch. Don't be afraid to go tell your employer, this is the skills I've gained, and this is why you need to pay me more and level up. Use AI as a tool and use it as a strategy to get where you need to go. So I know I'm talking too much. So
no, we still got a whole hour. And look, Ivan, the hearts, you can't see the hearts on your side, but the hearts are going crazy on the back of YouTube. Okay, like they are loving what you're saying, and a bunch of comments came in too. And listen, I knew once he asked that question.
Yeah, but you do need it for if you're not using AI for your day-to-day business, right? You're getting left behind. That's just like the people that didn't use the internet. Like, I'm not getting a Yahoo account. Get your Yahoo account. That's all I'm telling you. Get your Yahoo account. It's going to help you in the long run.
And I really love what you pointed out, that it's not necessarily that your job is going to be taken, but the sooner you embrace AI to help your organization, you're way more like you're retaining your marketability like within your organization. So that is so accurate. And I was just talking to somebody about that. I think it was actually Bridget talking about that, because people are thinking, like you said, they're gonna take our jobs, but like, no, you need to go with the times, just like any other times. Stuff, people didn't want to have a cell phone. They thought it caused cancer automatically. Then I remember specifically being told that when I went to go buy my first cell phone and I was in high school, because like and now it's like you got 2, 3, 4, 5 phones. Like everybody got phones everywhere, and it's not even a thought at all. So just going with the times.
Go with the times. It's here, right? The future is here. This is the stuff I used to see on Star Trek. It is all here now, right? So just lean into it, right? Find one thing that you don't like or gets on your nerves or agitates you, or you just, I don't want to do this today. You figure out, how do you get AI to do that for you or help you get that done more efficiently? It's not about learning a code or learning what an LLM versus a vector database is. You don't got to know all of that, right? You don't know. And I use this analogy for people who say, well, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know anything about AI, right? When a pilot is flying a plane, do you think they know everything about that plane? Or if you're driving a car, do you know how to put that car together from nuts and bolts? You know it works. You know, if you get into it and you pull a few levers, it's going to go left, right, front, back, fast and slow. AI is the exact same way. You don't need to know the inner workings of it. You need to understand, what is your outcome? What is the outcome that you want, right? And how do you get to that outcome using AI? So that's my soapbox for AI. So
I know, I love it, and that's what's important. And I'm telling you, these comments are going crazy. So there's so many things to unpack, but I wanted to ask a specific question about the app. So is there a cost on either side for VendorCall for me to be a vendor?
Yeah, so for a vendor, we take a service fee. It's a percentage on that side. So it's not Angie's List crazy, but that that helps us, of course, maintain the software and regulations and all of that other stuff. And then for the clients, depending on what we're managing for them, sometimes we manage whole portfolios for them, or we may. With VendorCall Connect, we have an enterprise version where we'll manage their organization and all of their vendors. So you kind of have a fees associated with that, but it's nothing too crazy.
So right now, VendorCall is available for us to download.
Yes, yep, it's on the Google and iPhone. I got a Apple Store. That's what it's called, Apple Store. Yep. So it's there. Yep.
And it has to be super vetted to be on the Apple Store, because I remember when I was building my little one period of time building app.
They are so strict.
So if it ain't legit, like, it's hard.
Yeah. And I got to redo mine. We're doing an update this summer, so that's always a whole ordeal with Apple. So
I know. I'll send you
which is, again, I talk about democratizing technology, right? Mm-hmm. So for us, the app is cool. We're actually moving not away from it, but again, we want people to be able to communicate in the ways that they're comfortable, right? So we have the app, but our next iteration with Valari and VendorCall Connect is, again, you can schedule these services through text, right? Ooh. Through a simple chat, just like ChatGPT. We have a chat area. Hey, I need the 3 best vendors in your platform, and I want bids from them. So you can literally type, so hey, give me some information about 360 Clean and what they do, or let me see their reviews from Google. So we're again, same thing. We're trying to adapt and move with the speed of technology as well. That way, that user experience, right, and that the benefit of the things that are coming, our users get that as well.
Services is always behind. So then I tell y'all, he's revolutionizing. He's not just doing a little thumb. He is He's changing the game. Like when you say, when I leave this earth, did I make it better?
Mhm.
Like, this is him. And you see, he got that humble face. Look, I don't care. Listen, I don't care if you blushing. Like, this is something when we, like I said, we be crossing paths. I didn't even know he did half of this. Like, not even a piece of it. And then he's like, oh yeah, I just created. Oh yeah, like, every time I talk to him, I'm learning something new. So it's really important, like, to utilizing your superpower, right? It's like he knows that I'm going every which way. I gotta hone in on how I can make this work for me. And you at least honed in on a majority of it, because I guess you're gonna have a lot of ideas that you can't execute
always
on.
Yeah,
but you honed in on, like, okay, this is moving and I can move with it because I move fast.
and you can move so fast. So
Yes.
and I tell a lot of people this, right? Is a lot of people automatically think that if somebody's further along in business, right? Or they have more money or they're more tech savvy, right? And I tell folks, rich people aren't necessarily smarter than you, right? Technology people aren't more motivated or more ambitious, right, than you, or more creative than you, right? It's because of the money or their positioning. They just have more bites at the apple. They have more swings, right, at the ball, right? Um, and the thing with AI, if you don't take away anything, the thing with AI, it gives you more swings at bat, right? If you have an idea, and I tell people, you learn more from your failures than your success, right? So AI allows you to iterate and build and put things out there really, really fast. So before, I had to spend $30,000 or $40,000 to figure out if this idea would be a good idea. Guess what? Now you can do that with AI in probably about 30 minutes to 2 days, and you can put something out to your customers and see if this is something that they want.
It's
right?
so, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can move stuff, and you can get from zero. It's a book called 0 to 1. You can get from 0 to 1 fast, right? I built it was a project I built for one of my clients probably about 4 weeks ago. We sat down, we worked together with it. It probably took us a week to get it together, and she's already probably in that month. She's probably already at $1,500, not life-changing money, but she was able to put something out in less than a month and get paying customers, right? And that's the power of AI. You don't need a background. You don't need tons of technology. You don't need a lot of money. All you have to have is curiosity and willingness to spend a little time and learn.
That's literally the words I was going to use. Like, you got to be willing to embrace it, because that's more than half the battle when it comes to all of it, all of technology. We've been in technology for a long time. So even I used to fight it. I'm like, oh, we got to learn something new, because with everything that comes out, we got to support it. So that means I got to learn before you learn. And then it's like, oh my God, I can't even keep up. So I can understand the pain, but we got to.
It's moving so fast. And I tell people, anytime you have somebody to say that they're an AI expert or their business is an AI X, Y, and Z, I was like, yeah, right? Because it's moving so fast, right? Tools that people built $1 million business on 2 years ago don't exist, because ChatGPT can just launch an update that will do that same thing. Those video creation things or YouTube automations, now that stuff, videos, right? So there used to be whole movie studios and people that have to pay production for to get these videos. Now you can make that yourself in probably about 15 minutes.
Right.
So
it's
moving so fast. And what you do is you just stay aware, and you look at, again, don't look at so much the technology or the different things, because you'll do like I did when AI first came out. You'd be paying for 20 different tools. You figure out what you want, especially for business. You figure out, what problem are you trying to solve for yourself, or you're trying to solve for your customer, right? And focus on those things. Don't get caught up in the fancy tools or the latest thing or who's doing what or so-and-so did what. Figure out what works for you, know what's going on everywhere else, but you solve your problems. You solve your problems and you use AI that way.
I love that. Let's knock out. Make sure y'all hit like on this video, because y'all y'all hanging with us for real, because this is like, I'm glued myself. So I know y'all getting some value. So Tempest said, how do you find, we're kind of going back a little bit, but how do you find janitorial franchises, and are they similar to cleaning apps that are out now? I guess that's two-part question.
So it depends. Again, it depends on what way you want to go, right? So there's two main types of cleaning, right? You have residential and commercial, and you have franchises for both. So a 360 Clean or a Jan Pro or Janiking or one of those would be a franchise, and there you can just kind of Google them and they'll give you an never ending list, right? And those are more on the commercial side. And then they have the residential side. Those are the Molly Maids, those franchises. And then you have, as far as the cleaning apps that you see that are out now, those aren't so much franchises. Those are software companies or marketing agencies. So that would be akin to like a Thumbtack or Angie's List, where anyone can go on and say, hey, I'm a cleaner, give me work, or like a Yelp, right? So you're going on the system and you're saying, I do cleaning, and they'll present that to the public. So that's very different from franchising. Most of those franchises are on there, but most of those are more B2C, business to consumers, that are looking for specific services. So that's what those cleaning apps do, and they're mostly geared around residential home. The issue with some of those when it comes to businesses or B2B doing commercial cleaning is because the standards and requirements are different for having a commercial cleaning company or being a government contractor than it is just going on like a Thumbtack or Angie's to say, hey, I do cleaning, right? So with the commercial side, and I'm pretty sure Sheen will tell you about the government side, you need, your license, you need a certain amount of insurance. They want to see background experience. You want to have a bond. So there's really a lot of structure put in place. And on top of that, the reason why a lot of people go residential versus commercial is residential is more of a quicker turnaround with the pay, right? So if you go onto an app like an Angie's List or a Thumbtack and you just say, hey, somebody has a cleaning company, usually you're going to pay by credit card and you're going to pay right there, right? When you're dealing with corporations or bigger companies or offices or retail spaces or government contracting, there's a waiting period for the money because there's an invoicing process. So you may wait 15 days if they're super awesome.
I'm like 15.
Yeah. That's if you got. I had somebody pay me in like 15 days the other day. I thought, I was like,
you're like, amen. What's
right? But usually you have a net 30. Right,
Yeah.
which just means it takes 30 days after you finish the job, you get paid. Net 60. I have some net 90s, which is insane. But the reason why a lot of people don't gravitate towards commercial is because, like I tell people, it's like, you will get bigger contracts. You got to stay alive long enough to spend the money because you still got to make payroll. If you have people doing it, you got to pay people, or if you're doing it yourself, you still got to pay rent, lights, water, gas, and stuff like that. And so you kind of have to be in a position or be strategically, planned for yourself to make sure that you can cover those expenses until the money starts rolling in.
So with VendorCall, are you vetting the vendors to make sure that they ain't just like, hey, I'm a cleaner, or
God, yes. Okay. So the thing about VendorCall is we're what we like to call a closed network, right? So you can't just go on and say, hey, I just want to be
invite only.
Yes, it's invite only. So you have to. So how we currently have it set up, you have to be a member, right, of a multifamily or retail association. So something like an apartment association or a HOA association. So you already have to be a vendor in those networks, right? Or you have to have at least 7 references from property management or retail to be a part of, because it's a closed network. So and that's why we gear more towards enterprise clients, because a lot of times that network will already be built in, right? So if you're a part of the, Las Vegas Apartment Association, right, all of those people know, like, and trust each other, so they can do business together, right? So we don't, as vendor, and that's a common misconception, we don't provide services ourselves. We don't go out and do the cleaning, right? We actually just provide the platform for everybody to work together, talk, get paid faster, and get their projects managed. So when you come onto the platform, you have to understand all these people, they trust each other. They know each other. Those reviews, those are from other property managers. And I'll tell people, they say, well, how did you grow so fast in your business? Because network, right? Your network is your net worth. And I tell people, even today in my service business with 360, probably about 85% of our business, and mind you, we're well over the 7-figure mark, is through referrals. Through referrals.
See, look, John will talk to anybody and everybody. He like, where's my phones? He be on 2 phones and then talking to somebody in their face. I'll be like,
obviously.
Skip me. He like, hold on. Okay, what? Okay. I got it. Thing. Ain't no shame. When you a business owner, you can't have no shame. It's whatever. Like,
you put
money.
That,
like, what are we talking about?
You got to put it to the side. Do not worry about what people think. Don't worry about what they're showing you on Instagram, because most of that is they're only showing you the good parts. I promise you.
Listen, and a lot of that money ain't coming from what they say it's coming from too. So that I meet a lot of these people. We in Atlanta, the home of the scammers, right? So,
oh my God, scam city. You know what was crazy? And I was telling you that a few weeks ago. I said that's really what turned me off initially from sharing my story and sharing my knowledge, because I saw that so much. It's so many people that are just out here regurgitating information and talking about things that they haven't done themselves. They got a course, or they learned how to do it from somebody else, or they saw, somebody else's video. That's just like a mechanic asking you to work on your car and their car is broke down. Ooh. Would you get your hair done by a hairstylist whose hair is just completely jacked up? It doesn't make any sense. So, and I get that all the time for me, because I'm in business, and so I'll get people out trying to sell me stuff. Oh, I can show you how to get $400,000 in business credit. And I said, oh, really? Let me see where you got $400,000 in business credit yourself.
Exactly.
Let me talk to 3 people. Who you got business credit of $500,000. So if you didn't do that, then I don't want to hear you, because if I tell you I can help you and I can show you how to start a successful service business, I can pull up my receipts. I can show you. Yes, I can show you my clients, and we can walk into Prada, or we can walk into Zara, and they will know me. So mine is not just theory, and it did turn me on. So I always tell people, be cautious, especially this is the knowledge era, right? So this is the knowledge era where things are, like I said, information is unlimited. So you have to be careful of people that are posing as knowledgeable people when they're just very good at ChatGPT. Or they're very good at summarizing other people's videos. But I tell you, so many times I'll see so many Sheena knockoffs. I'll be like,
point them out, John. Point them out, Chad.
I could have sworn she just did a video of
point them out.
All right, I'm my lane.
I need y'all to fight for me out here in the field. I can't fight for myself. Point them out. Lord have mercy. You got me all hyped now. Okay.
Yeah. My bad.
Oh my goodness. So is it Suppressia, I think, Simon, when evaluating a franchise, what's considered a reasonable ongoing royalty fee percentage for the franchisor? Oh, for the franchisor. Good question.
So I say that's one of those things that you look at when you're going through the franchise disclosure documents, right? So a lot of different franchisees will have different fees, right? and they'll have their justification for what their franchise fee and their ongoing royalty percentages are. And it's always important to evaluate that and ask questions on that. So as far as a specific number, I can't give you a number because I've seen it as, as low as 3% for real estate. All right. So real estate there, and in some other models, there's maybe, 15, 20, 25% if you're going on the consulting side. Right. So it just depends on how the franchise is modeled. Right. And look at what are you getting for that amount? So if I'm giving you 10%, what am I getting for that? Right. Am I getting my payments on time? Are you following up with support? Are you getting support? If I have an issue and I don't know how to sell because I'm brand new, are you going to help me? Right. Are you going to offer me, some get me going, give me a few contracts? Are you going to throw a few contracts my way because you're the, so you look at all those things. You want to evaluate kind of the fee relative to the support and to what you're actually getting for that. So
yeah, when I was looking into starting mine, I learned so much. And I think one of the biggest gripes people have is they want the operations, well, like the back office, and they want the support. So like, it's like having a mentorship. It's like buying into a mentorship program with a business already built in there.
Oh yeah. And again, they'll help you with some of those base things, but I go back to what I always tell you: hustle not included. So if you sit there and you wait for them to give you all your contracts, you got to understand they're business too. So they're business too. So just keep that in mind. I tend to, like I said, I go my own lane. so I always find my own contracts and my own customers. That's just the way I am. But most franchises, they have a lead system where they'll give you leads and contracts and stuff. They gave me one. And again, like I said, I get my own stuff, and they gave me one probably about a year or so ago. It was like $16,000 a month. I was like, oh, okay.
I'll take that. Look, tell them to Pat.
I'll take
it. Invite to the franchise. Pat, tell them to pass me one.
Yep. I think they have to because we got some more buildings from. I think they're probably like at 20 something now. But yeah, it was.
That's dope. I love it. And like, if I could do it all over again, I probably would have did a franchise. If I had if I had that 2,500 on hand.
2,500 on day. They ain't 2,500. You got.
I know, not even close.
We was in the golden days. God,
that was back in the day.
Them back in the day.
Yeah. So Bridget asks, how do you run your social media in a franchise? Do they provide content, or is it up to you? That's a great question.
Oh, so it really depends again on your FTD and the way that the franchisor. We need to have a whole franchise.
I know. I didn't realize.
Yeah. So some franchisors like ours does. Some of them do not. And it's because sometimes if you have a lot of big franchises and everybody has a social media presence, right, and the messaging isn't uniform, then it'll look scattered. So they will have rules around the branding. How do you display stuff? How do you use their name? The trademark and stuff like that. But for ours, and I know a lot of them, yes, you may have Keller Williams of Atlanta, Keller Williams of Covington, Keller Williams, and they have their own, kind of thing. So you'll see that in franchises. Some do not. I've seen some is like, hey, we run the social media, and if you want to post something locally, they do. But and a lot of it is not really. Well, some of it is the franchisor, and a lot of it is really up to Google too, because a lot of times Google gets really fickle about having individual locations. So if you got American franchise, and then they see 20 of them in Atlanta, Google's gonna kind of probably push back on that. So it just depends.
Got it. And then it probably is categorized under Atlanta and not like Grayson or one of those outskirts.
Yeah. So it just depends. Like we will have our own like for here in Atlanta, so it's a couple of our franchises, and we just kind of do stuff together just because we're a tight knit, we're a tight knit group. So, but you know, if you want to post something, you got some great pictures or something, I say collaboration is best. But if you want to, just like I said, make sure you consult with the franchise about kind of that whole social media, the rules that revolve around that. Every franchise is different,
right? Because it's just like if you were starting your own right today, you're gonna have what you think is appropriate.
You don't want I get it. You don't want your brand diluted, but you also want to give owners chances. To me, an owner a chance to be an owner and showcase, and then especially if you're in a huge franchise where you definitely want to differentiate yourself. Like, no, that's trash franchise of Oklahoma. That's not us.
Of Oklahoma, Lord, yes.
I had to go way out.
Way out, yes. And look, that's what Robin was talking about in Oklahoma. You should do one in Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right. Robin is in Oklahoma.
Robin said, "Don't you say nothing about Oklahoma." That's so funny.
Oh man, Fort Sill. Oh God, I was at that's where I deployed from Fort Sill. I left from LA. I was in LA as a recruiter. Then 9/11 happened, and it was like, "Hey, you want to re-enlist?" I was like, "Oh, I'm getting out." It was like, "Yeah, so we're gonna change your orders."
So you're not getting out. Newsflash.
New plan. You're not getting out. So
golly. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a whole nother topic right there.
Oh God, yes.
So Ivan said, "Goat, appreciate it." After you were talking about your AI stuff. I need to get in the cleaning business. I already love cleaning. Oh, so you don't have Robin. All this time I'm thinking you had a cleaning business. Talking about you love cleaning. Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
Do it.
Do it. Ain't nothing to it. So FJ Levy said, "Wow." This is when you were talking about the AI stuff. I saw it on the other side. These are great points. They loving you over here. Shonda says, there are so many AI versions. Which one do you find useful for cleaning business? VendorCall.
Right.
I mean, that's
right. Yeah. So this would be my advice. And it depends on what you're saying for the cleaning business. Is it for marketing? Is it for building the business? Is it for communicating with clients? Is it for running the business? So it's almost like choose your weapon, right? Choose your weapon that you want to use. So for me, I'll kind of give you a breakdown of kind of my what they call tech stack, right? So I use ChatGPT is like my Swiss Army knife, right? I kind of use that for everything, right? So I've built some custom GPTs that help me. Yep, that help me run my business. So I have a custom CEO, right? And then I have an AI chief marketing officer, branding, right? So I have pretty much a whole AI executive team, and they all talk to each other. So, and it's a good general tool. So I don't have to keep telling the AI the same information over and over because it won't forget. So it's better to have kind of customized. Now you can do that in all of the different AI tools, but for me, I found that ChatGPT is the easiest to get what you want. So, and men, probably get together and just do kind of a quick course, a quick, ChatGPT or AI course.
Yes.
But so I use that's my Swiss Army knife, right? When I am doing things pertaining to research, online, I need to the power of the internet, right? And the power of Google, I use Gemini. So Gemini is very good because it interacts with YouTube, it interacts with Google Drive, your Gmail. So there's so many things in that Google suite if you're a Google user that it's really going to be useful to you. And it's very, very good at research because, again, it was the first person to own the internet, basically. That's why I say it, right? And then for me, I use Claude, right? Claude is for my coding and for my writing. They're so much better at coding and writing with Claude. So I use that for my AI and for my automation when I'm writing code. If I'm trying to figure out how to automate my social media post and I don't want to pay Buffer or one of those $30 a month, right? I'll say, Claude, give me an automation using Zapier. How do I do this? And it'll literally write the code for me. But I tell people starting out, just choose your weapon, whatever feels good to you, right? Whatever vibe you catch, right? You use that. If it's Gemini, you use Gemini. If it's ChatGPT, use ChatGPT. Now, if you want to go in depth, again, that's knowledge is up to you, right? So I have my own chat, my own open AI, because that's the company. I have my own open AI large language model. So I don't use the regular Chat GPT 4.0 because I have all of my data fed into my own data model that I kind of use. So that's super, super advanced stuff, but don't even worry about that. Don't worry. Choose your weapon.
Yes.
Use your weapon and stick with that. If it's Chat GPT will get you fine. Now, one thing I tell people is, to me, I think it's always worth it if you can afford it. The $20, whatever their basic plan is, because you just get so much more.
You do. I don't like to pay for nothing, and I paid the leap.
Yeah, and it's good. I can't see how I ever did without it, because I use it on a daily basis, probably 10, 15, 20 times a day.
Same. No, thank you for that. The AI building model, that's interesting, because I know a few people who are really trying to hone in, and it's like you like, the more you learn, the more you do, and then you kind of go down. Do you watch Black Mirror?
Yeah.
It's like you end up all the way down the rabbit hole.
You will be all the way down the rabbit hole because
it's too late
because you have to think the whole knowledge of everything that's happened since the beginning of the internet or history is in there. So it's multiple variations. Star Trek actually had an episode. I'm a nerd, y'all. Star Trek actually had an episode about this, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Wow. About this supernatural being that had all of the knowledge of the universe in it. But that's basically ChatGPT. So you can go down a rabbit hole, which is again why there's some things you can do to prompt it. And there's some documents I tell people always keep it inside, and again, that's another class, but you kind of keep, you keep a suite of things together so the AI can always reference it. So because it will get off track, and whatever it's smart. It's not so much strategic, and it can't understand your true intentions unless you tell it or unless you get it. Right. It's only as accurate as you are. And this is what I told somebody the other day. If you're lazy, it's lazy.
Oh my God.
Think about it.
Yes, because I'm like, let me just do this one sentence, knowing damn well I need to write.
No, you got it. You have to write. If you're detailed and organized and meticulous, it will be detailed, organized, and meticulous.
Ooh, you read me my rights just now, because I'm so lazy. I'm like, why don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I'm really only saying one or two.
Yeah, you just hoping it understands. That's like those one-word texts, and you'd be like, huh? Are they yelling? Are they mad? Are they happy? I don't understand. So you assume from the text it felt like he was yelling in the text.
It felt.
It's just upper and lowercase. How you know I was yelling?
Oh my God.
Same with ChatGPT.
Yelling. Uppercase is yelling. So okay.
What if it's all uppercase?
Like that. I'm like, who?
Right.
The hell? No, you wouldn't. I know you would never be like that. So Robert said you are definitely a humble person. Yes, and yes. Kevin Jackson, honestly, I needed to hear that AI summary. On the ledge. One leg on either side. You're like, this is too much. It's too much.
It's a lot. I go down the rabbit hole at least once a week. I'm literally like a crackhead. I'll be up all night. You got any more of them Chat GPTs? Like, just build. I'll start building stuff, and I'll get so deep into it. I'm like, I'll just go off track, and it'll go with me. I love it because that GPT will go down the rabbit hole with me, and then it'll recommend rabbit holes for you to go down.
Would you like me to expound? Like, no more expounding. I don't want no more expound, because it's too much, and that's so true. And then you're like, I didn't know it could do this.
Crazy ideas.
Trust. We all know you got to kind of limit yourself. So April says she has a crazy idea folder, which I know April's brain is similar. Okay.
Execute it.
Yeah.
Execute it. Take that crazy idea folder, put it in ChatGPT, go to a tool like a website builder, a Lovable, a Dev. We're gonna do a build one day, Sheena. And we'll take somebody's crazy idea and we'll see how far we can get with it.
Yo, don't gas me, because I am definitely, it's like I'm a dreamer that has been beat down. So then it's like my dreams be kind of stuck, because I'm like, okay, I'm in the thick of stuff. And so I admire people who are still able to allow that dream and the innovation to not, life doesn't get the best of you the way you can still do it. But when I can get a chance to be a dreamer, I'm there.
Take a shot. That's what I say. If it's in your folder, April, take a shot. A lot of people be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. And
April.
Even if you are afraid that it's going to be crazy and it don't work, somebody once told me, no matter what crazy idea you like, what you into, there's at least 1 million people on this planet that like the same thing. Fact. So make you, like I told myself, make you an alter ego or a pseudonym, or what do you call it? Alter ego. If you don't feel like doing it, put that crazy idea out there under your alter ego. Make you a Gmail and throw it out there and put it out to some random strangers. Put $1 or $5 in Google ads on it. I mean, Meta, what is that? Facebook, Instagram ads, and see where it goes. That's what I say. It literally costs you nothing. Just throw it out there.
It literally costs you nothing. You got a whole bunch of hearts going right now. So that's a good point. Like, because you're not just giving the advice, but you're addressing the fear or addressing the apprehension with put out there anonymously and then see what happens. And then you just know, okay, no one know that as me. I really love that. I love that.
Yeah, and then like it, be like, oh, this is great. Yeah.
Right. Because then you don't feel like you're being salesy. You're on the other end of it. Very good. Very good point. Tempest said you are definitely dropping gems on us. Good stuff. Ivan going to call you what is it?
The tokenizer. I'm telling y'all, I'll probably run through about a million tokens probably a day, because I'm a super user with AI, so I'm always on it.
Y'all nerd talk. I'm like, token. Okay. No, it's similar. Okay. Come a long way for where you are now.
Right. Yeah. So
you must go way back.
Yeah, shout out to Robin. Robin was at she was at Fort Sill with us back in the day. Yep. So
the baby John.
That's Fort Sill. Oh man, she knew Reckless John.
Yeah,
keep it to yourself, Robin. Keep it to yourself.
She's like, I'm since you opened it up.
God.
That is too fun. We all got that past that the skeletons is all up in it. All up in it. So Tempest said, you better tell the truth. Information full of fluff. And y'all know on this channel, we don't do fluff. And I vet people. I don't know anybody on the channel. There's a lot of people who ask me and I'm like, nope. Because I don't believe in what you're selling. So we ain't doing that. So make sure y'all hit like on this video, because he is absolutely dropping a lot of information and some like business personal stuff that a lot of times people don't ever want to address.
I've done it, the good and the bad. I can tell you some. I can tell you some crazy. Yeah, it's not all. Everybody, again, a lot of times people expect, well, I'll put this money in, or I'll try and it's just gonna happen. Nah, it's a lot of times you see people that's made it or done something. There's a lot of work. You don't know what they sacrificed. You don't know what they gave up. You don't know how long they worked. You don't know how many times they couldn't pay their rent, or had to cash a hot check to make sure that people get paid.
Ooh.
Come on, the people that's been in it, they know who I'm preaching to. So when people say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do, show me, I can't show you how to do it. I can tell you what I did, but that's not a guarantee. You know what I'm saying? I can give you the path, but it's still going to take you on the other end. I don't want anybody to be disillusioned. And you see these ads on Facebook or on social media all the time. just do this. You can make $20,000 by doing this one thing. That's a lie. I'm gonna tell you it's a lie. And you can put me on the phone with them. I'll tell them they're a lie. Because it's not that one thing. And it may not even be the thing that you think it is.
Right.
Do it. So
and I still say, even with government contracting is the vehicle, but the business part is still the business part. You got to still evaluate your contract, just because even if I'm helping you with your contracts. And side note, so I can go ahead and pay the rent, so to speak. We have a subscription service out right now where we have 3 tiers, where there's essentials, where we find opportunities for you and you go off and do great things. We have the GovCon Now Pro, where we design it for you, but you have to give us the data. And then we have our GovCon Advanced, where we do everything for you. But still, even when we do everything for you, as far as writing the proposals, you still got to read through it and make sure it's something that you can do. You still got to find your own vendors. You still got to make sure that this is something you're willing and able to do. What if you're going on vacation every year at the same time, and that's when this contract starts? That's not for anyone else to figure out. Even under the subscription service, I'm 100% transparent all the time. Y'all ain't never going to catch me in that lie, okay? Ever. Pull up everything. I tell all my business anyway, so there's nothing that you can really.
I've seen Sheena hustle on the government side. When I tell you, there's been times we go to events and we just both looking like somebody just beat us up. Guess what?
Hair like this. Like,
yes, because we've been. She puts in the work. She's actually done it. So if you are interested in government contracting and you want to know the lay of the land, how do you get started? How do you get into it? I'm telling you, she's the person that do it. Like she can get you right.
Yes, I got a couple of my students on here too. So shout out to y'all if they still on. I'm not sure if they still on, but yes, it's important for you to know if this is for you. That's not for Sheena to know. That's not for John to know. That's not for Ivan to know. It's for you to know. You may not be a good business owner. Everybody is not a business owner. You may not know that until you start, and then you realize
may not like it.
You may hate it. You may say, this is Sheena is lying. It is not sunshine and rainbows. And I've never said that. But because maybe I make it look good, you know what I'm saying? Right. That doesn't mean it's for you. I've had so many businesses, just like John. I didn't have 50-11 businesses, 50-11 jobs. And I'm like,
sometimes you wake up and you don't want to do it no more. I quit a couple times. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie. I quit like once a month. I be like, I want a regular job.
Right.
Because I just want to do one thing. Wait till I retire. I'm gonna give me a regular job. Well, I gotta do one. I'm responsible for doing one thing, and I just gotta be awesome at that one thing, and I go home.
He ain't gonna do it. Look, I already know you're not doing that. But look, this is one of my dreams, was to work at Old Navy just folding clothes. I don't want to be a cashier. I don't want to greet nobody at no door. I want to fold clothes and point to the boys' department, to the girls' department. Not even gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna point, like, and fold clothes. I don't want to interact. I just want like something that can just pass the time. Like, hey, drive up in my nice car and be like, all right, it's 5 o'clock. I'm out. All right, see y'all later. And that's it. That's the rest. That's the end of my day. I'm with you 1,000%. Even though we're not gonna do that, it sounds good.
It sounds very good. This is what business owners dream about. Y'all dream about owning a business. We dream about not owning a business. Not owning a business. We dream about being a regular person and nobody's holding us responsible for nothing. I don't have to pay nobody. Just
me, myself.
Where's my check? I worked. I need my check.
Expeditiously. That is so funny. That's when you know that there's something, either something really, really wrong or really, really right up here, to where most of us had good jobs. And you worked at Accenture.
Oh my God.
You had a good job.
Yeah.
We had good jobs. And we're like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go out here and just
I left this. I had a nice little 6-figure job and I decided to clean toilets instead. Get me evaluated. That's why I get my VA money right there.
Because there's clearly something wrong. Look, we all in this. We all in this. That's why I feel like I had put out a poll one time on LinkedIn. I said, an entrepreneur is born or made. And I really feel like people might go, they might get a degree, they might go to get a job, but their destiny was supposed to be, they were entrepreneur, they were business owner, they're creator. They just ended up in a job because our generation, they said, go get that college degree, you get a job, everything's going to be all right. Now things are different, but you can't tell me that someone I'm lined up with who's in the military for 40 years, worked with their whole life, never even thought about a business. And here I go, like, I don't want to do it no more. I'm breaking free, like angrily, like, get me out of here go do the unknown. I had to be born like this.
Had to be.
Because it doesn't make any sense, you know?
Yep. It's definitely some type of deficiency there.
Something right. But anyway, y'all stay encouraged, okay? Y'all stay encouraged.
Please don't listen to these old people. We'll tell me like, I ain't starting no business. Something wrong with that.
Log off. No, we're just kidding, y'all. Y'all follow your dreams. Okay?
Yeah.
So shout out to Christy. I definitely need to look into using AI in the transportation industry. Yes, every industry, all industries, okay? Because it really does enhance in some sort of way, even at the admin portion. Ivan says ChatGPT is starting to give you hallucination answers. As you said, you got to be detailed. And she can't count.
She cannot count. Oh my God. So who's the Gemini is the worst at math. I don't think they graduated because they're horrible at math. ChatGPT is a little bit better. Claude is good. But yes, they're not good at math. And a big part of it is interpretation, because like Knights was saying, it has so much information and there's so much people have to remember. It's a combination of everything that ever existed on the internet. So what existed on the internet along with the right stuff? A bunch of the wrong stuff.
BS, yeah.
A bunch of the wrong. So this is another reason why I stress to people, have your own trained data. And if you have ChatGPT or if you have Gemini, have your own folders where it's pulling in. Another one is Notebook LLM, right? And you give it, Notebook LLM is you can pull in only the data that you want it to kind of go from, and that will cut down on the hallucinations because it's custom GPTs do the same thing to a certain extent. But that'll cut down on the hallucinations because it'll reference what you know as your fact or your base of reference.
Yeah, and sometimes like I won't even use my GPT because I'm like, it's pulling from, I'm mostly doing it for contract proposals, right? And it'll pull the data, and it sounds good, but it'll pull in the data from an old proposal. And it has nothing to do with the new one, but it sounds good when it's worked in there. So I'm like, okay, let me go to the open internet, and I feel like it understands a little bit better. But you have to put in the right stuff.
Yeah, and Notebook, that's why I like Notebook LLM. I was going to do a video on Notebook LLM because it actually uses the data that you give it. It's very, very good for research and kind of compiling stuff. Now they added one where you can, if you want to learn like everything that Sheena has to offer from YouTube, you can actually put that in there and it'll summarize it, and it'll make a podcast for you and everything, like a two-way podcast where they'll talk about whatever subject. So I do that to learn stuff as well. So
that's through Notebook LLM.
Yeah, it's Google. It's Google. It's called Google Notebook LLM.
Oh Lord! Now everybody gonna be up all night because John then gave us another thing.
Sorry, I told you. So there's so many weapons. There's so many weapons. You have to choose.
and you just came. You're using this stuff regularly, so it's like off the top of your head, you can remember all of them and what they do and why they're beneficial. That is so dope. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna point my finger at you about your YouTube.
I know. I got it. I'm working on a couple things. I'm just trying to get through trade show season. So
spring, summer. I totally get it.
Yep.
Simple Valet always has the best guest. Yeah, of course. Because we don't play around here. We don't play. April said yes, thank you. Needed to hear that. April needs to have someone wag their finger at her because she's super, super creative, super brilliant. And sometimes you just kind of get caught up in the maybe I shouldn't type attitude. So
execution, you want to have an execution mindset, right? So knowledge is not the issue. Money is not the issue. Technology is not the issue, right? So I say, look at your mindset. You want to have a mindset of execution because that's what's going to get things done and get you kind of to the next the next level, especially when you're stuck. When you're stuck, just go. If you don't know what you're going to do, flip a coin. Just go. Even if it's wrong, you flip the coin, you'll know fairly quickly if it's wrong, and you can double back and do the other thing. So that's the beauty of AI now, is you can be wrong so fast now.
Right.
So you can put something out, say, should I start, a slushy business or an ice cream business? Just pick one.
Wow, that's really, because they always talk.
I'll put up 2 websites at the same time. Well, does this work or that work? Guess what? I'm gonna build both of them and see which one works.
The internet will let you know. And they used to always talk about in like professional development books and stuff like that is fail fast. So it's like, this is the fastest. Because I mean, if your concerns are like, numbers or locations or anything that the internet or other people have talked about somewhere can help you figure out those key things before you go into it, then you knocked all that out immediately. Out of the 10 things to be concerned about, it'll knock out probably those first 8 from an administrative perspective, a logical perspective. And so then you're like, okay, well, the only 2 things is my fear, and maybe I might have to sacrifice some sleep. And I do that. I do that with my damn job anyway. So it's like you're really.
And I had that problem, and I still suffer. I ain't gonna lie, I still suffer from it from time to time, right? But something my mom told me, she says, fear and procrastination are the enemies of success, right? And that's usually what stops most of us from pursuing a lot of stuff. So sometimes we'll act like we don't understand or know how to get to the knowledge, when really it's a fear of failure or procrastination, because it's something you don't want to tackle, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes your procrastination or your fear is telling you, well, maybe I'm not the right person to be doing it. It should be done, but maybe I'm not the right person to do this. Maybe I need to find someone that I can partner with or I can collab with. So the same thing, like I was talking to Sheena, she actually helped me with some stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. But then I had to realize, well, maybe because I'm not the person to try to put the whole thing together myself. I need to reach out to there's a book called Who Not How that talks about finding people who can be a who to you, that can help you get to where you want to go, right? Maybe you're not really good at content creation, right? Can you find a who or somebody that loves creating content and partner with them, to get it done, right? Maybe you like being in front of the camera, but you don't like cutting up the videos and stuff like that. You find somebody that does. So and that's what I talk about a lot in my newsletter, Alternative Programming, is a lot of things we've been just taught wrong, right? We taught that entrepreneurship is about the grind and doing it yourself, and nobody's going to help you. And no. The biggest companies always have teams behind them. Yes. Can some people win the lottery sometimes? Yeah, they could, right? But if you can find some like-minded people, you find your tribe, right? You find your community, right? People that are going through the same journey with you, people that are having the same fears and struggles with you, or someone that maybe loves the thing you're struggling with. You partner with them, right? So would you rather have 100% of a dollar, or 50% of $1 million? And we've been taught to think, oh, it has to be mine. I have to be the person in charge. I have to have a title. Like I told you, when I started, I didn't give myself a title, and I didn't give anybody that worked with me a title. Right? We're all representatives till we get to where we need to be.
Boy, I'm damn motivated myself. I'm like, we need to get off this call so I can go down the daggone rabbit hole with Google Notebook LLM, because I actually do need that for real. And that's what I'm saying. Like, all these things work together. Like finding your tribe. I've heard a few people say that they don't, and I would challenge anyone who says they don't have any other business friends. they're not trying. You got to find whatever group that is. Well, even if it starts off as a demographic where it's a veteran group or a women's group or a minority group or the Atlanta group or the Gwinnett group or whatever, you're not trying, because I don't know how anyone can really run a business without having business friends. Like, maybe they've been kind of sort of doing it, or maybe they've been kind of.
It's a lonely road. It's not impossible, but it's a lonely and it's a difficult road. Because I had that mindset myself. Like I said, just the programming that we have, I thought that my struggles were unique to me, right? And my struggles were my own and were my own to figure out, until I started getting with other people, and going to different groups and meetings and people that had them. It's like, oh, you got the same problem. Or you'll go like IVMF when we go to Veterans Edge. Sheena, how many times have we went to Veteran Edge and everybody comes away? When I tell you we get more value talking to other business owners and other veterans that worked it, then a lot of times the courses are amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when we're sitting at lunch or we're sitting out in the lobby area and, well, how did you handle this problem? Well, what did you do about this? You know, I remember I was struggling with payroll, just payroll and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, it's mine to struggle with, right? Until I talked to somebody else and I was like, well, you can just change your pay periods to coincide to make sure it matches with your money. So I've been struggling for 4 or 5 years and nobody's ever, I didn't, but it never dawned on me. It never dawned on me just to change the pay period. That's just what I started with. And so I thought that's just how it had to be. So a lot of you just don't know what you don't know.
And being transparent, like, and it goes back to what you said about people lying on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, there's no business. If you watch any show, like, there's gonna be some things where it make it look all sexy, like blue collar millionaires, but then you got the shows like The Profit, where they got their house got 4 mortgages on it. They got the kids' college fund been dead. They in debt. They can close any day. If you look at businesses in history, they all had so many struggles. And I always use a quick example of Lego. Lego's warehouse burned down 3 times. Now listen, the Lord done told you 3 times to let it go, and you're like,
right.
nope,
you don't want to let it go,
because it used to be a wood toy company until they switched over to plastic. So imagine that. Doesn't that feel like a sign? If your building burns down 3 times, that means that ain't for you, and they still continued on. So most of us don't have that kind of fortitude. Sheena, and John, the most business people you probably ever met in your life. Look, I don't know about you, John. I don't think I can do it. After 3 times, I think that my destiny is something else. Just saying.
It's probably a sign. Yeah.
And here go Lego everywhere, still. So it's really about making sure that you are in the fight, and everyone is pretty much everybody living the same life. Ain't nothing new under the sun. There's going to be some variations and some upgrades and additions, but really, like, if you're being transparent and you're just like, hey, I need help. This is what I do well. This is what I don't do well. Help. And there's going to be someone that you can find that can meet you where you are, and you guys bounce ideas off each other, whatever. Finding what works.
And if you can't find them, ask ChatGPT.
Amen.
Because chances are somebody online has had that problem
that is so
in history before. So
they said ChatGPT is Bay, like he the invisible Bay right now.
Oh, they have it where it does counseling for you and everything. Because I was struggling with something. I said, I think I'm doing it wrong because my VAs, they're just not getting it. And so I had a come to Jesus meeting with ChatGPT on why I sucked at managing VAs. And it pretty much told me I sucked at managing VAs because I expect them to be a scatterbrain like me, and they need to be focused and give specific tasks. But
damn. That's real. Like, a lot of people that have VAs and remote workers, that's usually the problem. They just expect them to know everything that's supposed to happen, and you ain't trained them worth a damn. And now you have substandard products, and you're not. Yeah, we've all been there. So we are coming up on our end of our 2 hours, but we got a couple more questions in the chat. So ask y'all last few questions, and make sure y'all hit like on this video. I am going to be leaving the subscription information and of course the course information in the description box. So make sure y'all check that out and see if that's something y'all want to experience. You know what I'm saying? And check out VendorCall. I mean, if you get the invite, I mean, you gotta be on point. Like you can't. I don't even know if I can be on VendorCall. Shoot, like we gotta make sure that you are a legit business, and I really appreciate that though, because it helps me too. If I'm looking at something where everybody's on, it's kind of like, okay, well, how good is this really? So I really love that key feature that you have in there.
Yeah.
So Karina Parker, hey sis, you're very encouraging. Have dreams. You make me believe I can succeed. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, John, changing lives. I freaking love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, everybody is loving you, John. I love this. Andrew said, great information. Thank you both. And then Ivan said, John, I'll be reaching out. Ivan, hey, he made sure he reach out. I'll be reaching out as a client for assistance on an app idea. Look, I can't. So when y'all listen, I want to know after y'all talk, because I know what Ivan's talking about. Okay, after y'all talk, I want to know. I want to know what happened. Okay, because I know what he's talking about, and I know y'all gonna end up doing great things. Just give me $5 out of it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Oh yeah, and as far as the AI, it'll create 12 fingers.
It will.
It used to have people 2 arms growing out.
Oh man.
It was.
They gave me a double foreheads with 2 sunglasses one time. So,
you're like, somebody check this out. Somebody look at this. What the hell is this? Oh my god. Tempest, I'm all for networking and partnership and collaboration. I always say collaboration over competition any day.
Always. And I learned that too late. I learned that too. I wish I would, man.
Yeah. Because people treat finding business friends like dating in 2025, like someone's just gonna show up and knock at their door. Events are a must. Bridget is serious about these events. You hear me?
Mm-hmm. And it's just like anything else. You have to build trust. You know, it doesn't, start off. Oh yeah, we just gonna do something together. I mean, yeah, but it's like, hey, let's work on a small project together, or let's brainstorm on something together and see how we mesh and just kind of go from there. So,
and I think that starting off with a common base, like if it's a veteran event or a women event, like whatever, you can kind of meet there and y'all know I'm an introvert.
Can I tell you about my
yes.
What's in my crazy idea folder related to that? So
I'll try to change me.
So when I get stressed, or overwhelmed, that's kind of my new. I don't play my Xbox anymore. I dig into AI and do the coding. So I told you about AtlantaEvent.com, my first business in Atlanta, and I was like, well, I was just kind of stuck on some stuff, and I was like, all right, let me look at this. So I go in my crazy idea folder. I was like, oh, I forgot about AtlantaEvent.com. And so I said, well, how do we bring this to the 2025, with AI and automation? So it took me probably about an hour. So I came up with this networking event matching service where I have to show it to you. I'll have to show it to y'all one day. So it'll give you the list of events in your area, and based on what you're looking for, who you are, it'll give you a percentage score of how useful or likely this is, or if you should or shouldn't attend. And it gives you tips on who to network. And then it pulls the list. And if there are certain people, if it has an attendee list, it'll try to tell you which people you should match with. So it's pretty cool. I built that.
It's pretty cool. It's whatevs. What the hell?
I just threw it in my crazy ideas folder. I was like, let me get back to work, because I do that. That's my distraction now. It's not TV.
Right. TV, no Xbox. He's creating.
I'm so distracted. I get so distracted with AI now. It's a mess.
But you're coming up with great things, and I want to make sure you trademarking all your stuff. Okay. Trademarking all your stuff. And okay, so we over the time, but hey, look, here we are. Just a couple more things. Shonda says she's a networking queen. She's like a social but she flutter around. She's a social butterfly all the time. She try to get people together online, in person. She is that for real.
Nice. I love it.
So you shared a little bit with me about what your plan is with your business. Can you share a little bit? Or are you willing to share? Is that like?
Yeah. So for, like I said, that's we're pushing in to make sure that we make property services seamless and as easy as ordering a pizza or talking to Chat GPT. So we're going to push forward with that, and we're really moving forward in targeting enterprise clients. So we're moving more into the enterprise space, with large organizations that already have a pre-existing network effect. So if you're an apartment association or a corporation like a Coca-Cola who has, hundreds or thousands of vendors, right? So those are our clients, and we make sure that it's easy for you to do business. If you have multi-site locations like retail stores, we make it easy for you guys to do business together. And as always, I have my newsletter, Alternative Programming, where I talk about all things mindset, AI, and we'll put the link in the video. And just, if you just want to hear more of my crazy business stories.
You got everybody creating my crazy idea journal, and
yeah, you got to have a crazy ideas folder. I'm telling you, put it in a Google Drive, and every time you think about it, I put Google Drive on my phone. And so if I get a crazy idea and I know I'm too busy to execute on it, I'll talk to Chat GPT or Gemini and put it in a summary and stick it in that folder.
Oh man, see, so, I like that because I use Evernote. Evernote is bae for me. I've been using it for like over probably almost 15 years or whatever, and it's not organized like that. So I'll have these ideas, but I can search them depending on what I have in the title. But I like the idea of it being in one folder, and then they're going to be separated by Google Doc or whatever. So I really like that idea.
And if it gets big enough, I'll make a folder for it, but it'll be different docs, a crazy ideas folder. And then if it gets big enough, or if I think about it too much, then I'll make a folder and I'll just kind of put stuff in their folder. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And that's what we talk about in my newsletter, Alternative Programming newsletter. I just talk about stuff like that. So I got a story about that where I broke my arm. And then I built, I got kind of bored with having a broken arm. So I built a mega GPT where I put Google Gemini, Chat GPT, Perplexity, Claude, and all these AIs into one, so I could search them all. So it's interesting.
And he does this for fun. I love it. No, but you got the outlet, you know what I mean? Because I always tell my kids I could be smoking crack. I mean, no disrespect, but I'm saying like it could go the opposite way.
It's not too late, Sheena. There's always, I mean,
we're trying to stay on the up and up stuff that helps us do better. Okay, so is a luxury car store. No one ever got paid for watching TV except Nielsen. Spending time learning new ways to use AI will never be crazy. Tell him. Tell him I love that. That's a great message. April says, I do have a folder in Drive too. I make a PowerPoint doc, and each business I come up with has so many slides and dreams. I love it. Y'all creative people, like the creative has been beaten out of me a little bit. I'm gonna get it back though. I'm gonna get it back. So as far as your other business, your cleaning bit, I don't know if I can talk about it, but you shared what's next for that too.
Yeah. So we got some things on the horizon. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Fair, very fair. Okay, so how can people reach you? You got your newsletter.
Yep. So I got the newsletter. It's Alternative Programming, and you can find it out alternativeprogramming.com or beehive.alternativeprogramming.com, or you can follow me on LinkedIn. Just put John Thomas VendorCall or John Thomas 2008, and I'll show up. If you need to email me, you can just email me at john@vendorcall.com.
And I think we already have that in the description, but everything he just mentioned, I'm going to make sure is in the description. So thank you all for staying with us. A lot of y'all are here, so make sure you hit like. I ain't seen the super chats, but I ain't gonna get mad. But he's dropping some gems for real. So you can always do the super chat after the fact as well, because he has shared like real intricate details about stuff that most people are not going to talk about. So I appreciate you, John. Make sure that you stay on real quick while we're ending this. But y'all, until next time, it's your favorite veteran, and we are out.
All right. See y'all.
Stay on, John. Don't go nowhere.